A small community of 60 people lives in 9 settlements. When it snows, the grass dies, leaving nothing for animals to eat. The Arctic is a land of extreme conditions, freezing temperatures, long periods of darkness, and complete isolation. Yet, for centuries, indigenous tribes have survived and even thrived in these harsh conditions. Scattered across Alaska, Canada, Greenland, Scandinavia, and Russia, these groups have developed incredible traditions, from hunting in darkness to building homes from ice. Some tribes, however, have especially remarkable ways of life. The Gwich'in people believe the world around them is not just made of land and sea but also spirits. To them, everything in nature has a soul, from towering mountains to tiny fish. Their shamans, spiritual leaders, are believed to have the power to heal the sick, communicate with spirits, and bring misfortune to those who disturb nature's balance. At the center of their beliefs is Elmu, the spirit of the universe that created all life. This deep respect for nature influences everything they do, from their traditions to their survival skills and even their art. Their culture is not only spoken but also carved and danced. They create beautiful masks and sculptures from wood and ivory, each telling a unique story. Their traditional dances, performed at potlatch ceremonies, help them honor their ancestors and connect with spirits. Surviving in the Arctic requires skill, knowledge, and resilience. The Yupik are experts at using the land and sea, hunting seals, walruses, and caribou with harpoons, spears, and kayaks. To survive the brutal winters, they build underground communal houses called kashim and warm shelters lined with animal skins called anna. While the Yupik look to the spirits of the land and sea for wisdom, another tribe has mastered the language of ice and snow, the Nenets. These remarkable people have lived in the harsh Siberian tundra for centuries, developing deep knowledge of snow, ice, and permafrost. One of their unique skills is their ability to read snow. Their language has many words to describe different types of snow, allowing them to predict the weather, find the best grazing spots for their reindeer, and determine safe travel conditions. In a world where climate change is rapidly altering their environment, this knowledge has become more critical than ever. Melting ice and unpredictable weather patterns are disrupting their migration routes and threatening their way of life. The Nenets live in chums, traditional cone-shaped tents made from reindeer hides. These tents are built to withstand freezing temperatures as low as -50 degrees Celsius. The hides provide insulation, keeping the warmth inside and the cold out. These shelters are also easy to set up and take down, which is essential as the Nenets move with their herds during seasonal migrations. Family is central to Nenets society. They organize themselves into clans, passing lineage through the father. Each clan has its own customs and territory, with elders playing an important role in decision-making. However, the true spiritual leaders are the shamans, called Tardya, who maintain harmony between humans and nature. They help ensure that the Nenets remain connected to the land that sustains them. Despite their deep connection to the land, the Nenets' way of life is under threat. Large industrial projects, such as the Yamal Mega Project, have encroached on their territory, disrupting migration routes and polluting their environment. If these changes continue, their traditional way of life may disappear forever. Survival in the Arctic is not just about enduring the cold, it's also about resisting outside forces. While the Nenets battle environmental challenges, another tribe, the Aleut, faced a far more devastating force: colonization. The term Aleut was first used in the 18th century by Russian fur traders to describe two groups, the Anangacs of the Gwich'in Islands and the Supak of Kodiak Island. Although they shared similar environments, their languages and cultures were distinct. Everything changed in 1741 when Russian colonizers arrived. What began as trade soon turned into exploitation. Fur traders overhunted sea otters and seals, destroying the ecosystems the Aleuts relied on. diseases spread rapidly, and violent conflicts broke out. As a result, the once thriving Aleut population of 25,000 dropped to just 2,000 by the late 19th century. With their people nearly wiped out, the Aleut struggled to keep their culture alive. Their language, Angam Tunu, once spoken by thousands, now has only about 109 fluent speakers. Losing their language has deeply affected their identity. However, they are fighting to revive their traditions, passing them down to future generations. The Aleut people have always had a strong connection to nature. They practiced animism and shamanism, believing that spirits existed in the sea, wind, and land. When Russian Orthodox missionaries arrived, Christianity spread among them, but instead of abandoning their old beliefs, they blended them with the new religion. For generations, Aleut men were expert hunters, navigating the dangerous seas in skin-covered kayaks called by darkas to hunt marine animals like seals, sea otters, whales, and walruses. Meanwhile, women gathered fish, birds, shellfish, and wild plants. Their survival depended on working together and maintaining a strong relationship with the land and sea. Then came World War I. In an unexpected turn, the U.S. government forcibly relocated the Aleuts to internment camps with terrible living conditions. Families were separated, and their way of life was shattered. Their suffering went unrecognized for decades until 1988, when the Aleut Restitution Act was passed, offering compensation. But no amount of money could undo the deep scars left by war and displacement. While the Aleuts endured colonization and war, another Arctic tribe, the Korak, faced a quieter struggle. Their culture slowly faded due to modern policies that reshaped their way of life. The Kayak people have always lived in harmony with nature, making decisions as a community rather than following strict hierarchies. Families work together, and wisdom is passed down through shamans, who guide their people through rituals and drumming. For them, nature is not just something to use, it is sacred. One of the most important aspects of kayak culture is their deep reliance on reindeer. For centuries, reindeer have been their lifeline, providing food, clothing, tools, and transportation. They use every part of the animal, ensuring nothing goes to waste. They have also adapted to the changing seasons, building semi-underground homes to survive the cold winters and sturdy tents to stay cool in the summer. Along the coast, they crafted boats from wood and animal skins to fish and hunt marine animals. In summer, women gather berries and roots to store food for the colder months. However, outside forces have made life difficult for the Poruk. Soviet policies aimed at changing their traditional ways led to the decline of their language and customs. In 2007, the Kayak Autonomous Okrug was merged with Kamika Krai, reducing their political representation and making it harder for them to protect their culture. The Kak's bond with reindeer has shaped their survival, but they are not the only Arctic people whose fate is tied to an animal. The Gwich'in people share a special connection with caribou, seeing them as more than just a food source. To them, caribou are essential to their way of life. As Sarah James, a respected leader, beautifully puts it, caribou are not just what we eat, they are who we are. This bond is reflected in their traditions, stories, and way of life. For generations, the Gwich'in have depended on the caribou for food, clothing, shelter, and tools. Their hides were used to make tents, the fur provided warmth in bedding and clothing, and the bones were turned into essential tools. More than just a source of survival, caribou are part of their spiritual and cultural beliefs. Their creation myths tell of a time when the Gwich'in and caribou were one, inseparable. Even after they became separate, they vowed to honor the caribou forever. Today, the heartbeat of Gwich'in life still follows the migration of the porcupine caribou herd. Over generations, they have mastered the skill of tracking caribou, learning their migration patterns and habits. But hunting for them is more than a necessity, it is about respect and sustainability. They ensure the caribou population remains strong for future generations. However, their fight now extends beyond tradition. They are also protecting caribou from modern threats. When oil companies targeted the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, home to the caribou's calving grounds, the Gwich'in took a stand. They saw this not just as an environmental issue but as a battle for their very way of life. With climate change and external pressures affecting caribou populations, the Gwich'in have become fierce advocates, protecting the herd and their sacred land.